5,000 hours. That is how long a properly built commercial cutting machine is engineered to run before it ever needs a major rebuild. And here's the uncomfortable part nobody at the dealership will tell you. Two mowers can leave the very same factory, with the same engine, the same deck width, the same brand name stamped on the side, and one of them will still be cutting grass long after the other has been stripped for parts in the back of a workshop. Today, I am settling one of the most argued questions in the entire lawn care world. Stand-on versus zero-turn. Which format actually lasts longer? And why the honest answer is not the one most salesmen are paid to give you. Before we put these two machines head-to-head, you need to understand the mechanism, because longevity in a mower is never luck, and it has nothing to do with the color of the paint. Every riding machine lives or dies on three components: the hydrostatic transmission that drives each rear wheel independently, the steel gauge of the cutting deck, and the frame that holds the whole thing together while it absorbs thousands of impacts every single season. Get those three right, and the engine will usually be the last thing to wear out. Get them wrong, and you have bought a machine with an expiry date that nobody bothered to print on the box. So let us be clear about what these two machines actually are. A zero-turn is the one you know. You sit down, two lap bars in your hands, a wide deck out front, and you can spin the machine on its own footprint. A stand-on is the quieter, professional cousin. You stand on a sprung platform at the rear, the deck sits ahead of you, and the whole machine is shorter, tighter, and more compact than a sit-down rider of the same cut width. Both steer the exact same way, with two independent hydraulic wheel motors. From a distance, they look like different animals. Underneath, they are closer than you think. And that is where the longevity story gets interesting. Round 1. The frame. This is the single biggest reason stand-on machines have a reputation for outliving their seated rivals. And it is not magic, it is geometry. A stand-on has a far shorter wheelbase and a much smaller overall footprint. Less length means fewer welds, fewer stress concentrations, and a far stiffer chassis for the amount of steel used. There is no long seat tower, no big rear frame extension cantilevered out behind the rear axle to crack and flex over the years. The operator stands directly over the drive wheels, so the weight sits low and central instead of hanging off the back. Now, here's the part that matters even more. Stand-on mowers are sold almost entirely to commercial crews. There is no real budget, big box weekend warrior version of a stand-on. So the average stand-on you will ever touch is already built to a professional standard with a fabricated deck and a welded tube frame, simply because nobody bothers to make a disposable one. The zero-turn world is the opposite. It spans everything from a 2,500-pound homeowner special to a 14,000-pound commercial brute, and most of the ones sitting in driveways live right at the cheap end. Round 2. The drivetrain. Here the two formats are dead level, and anyone who tells you otherwise is guessing. Both stand-ons and zero-turns use the same family of hydrostatic transmissions. At the budget end, you get sealed integrated transaxle units, the kind that cannot be opened, cannot be serviced, and can only be replaced when they fail, at 400 to 700 pounds a side. At the commercial end, on both formats, you find separate heavy-duty pumps and wheel motors that any competent mechanic can rebuild with seals, filters, and fluid. So the transmission does not care whether you are sitting or standing. It cares whether you bought commercial grade or disposable. The catch, again, is that almost every stand-on the market ships with the serviceable commercial units, while a huge slice of zero-turns ship with the sealed throwaways. Same component category. Completely different life expectancy. Round 3. Shock and vibration, the silent killer. Every time a mower hits a root, a rut, or a curb edge at speed, that impact has to go somewhere. On a traditional seated machine, a lot of it travels straight up the chassis and into your spine through the seat. Multiply that by thousands of hits a season, and you get exactly what frame repair shops see all the time. Hairline fractures in the welds, fasteners that work loose, wiring that fails from constant vibration. A stand-on changes that equation in a quietly brilliant way. You are stood on a sprung platform, and your own legs act as the suspension. Your knees and ankles soak up the worst of the shock before it ever reaches the frame, and the platform itself is sprung to take the rest. Less shock into the structure means less fatigue over the years, fewer loose bolts, and a chassis that stays true for longer. It is the same principle that makes suspension-equipped sit-down mowers last longer, except on a stand-on, you get it for free, built into the way you ride. Round 4. Service and access, because a machine that lasts is a machine that is easy to look after. Stand-ons are wonderfully simple. Fewer body panels, fewer covers, no bulky seat assembly to unbolt. Spindles, belts, and the deck are usually right there in front of you. The easier a machine is to grease, inspect, and repair, the more likely it is to actually get that care, and the small jobs that prevent the big failures actually get done. A zero-turn is not hard to service, but on the cheaper ones, you will often find sealed spindles that cannot be greased and integrated, transaxles that cannot be touched. Once a component is sealed against maintenance, it is on a countdown, and no amount of looking after it will change that. So does that mean stand-on wins? Full stop? Every time? No. And this is where I have to be straight with you, because the honest answer is more useful than a cheerleader's answer. The format is not what determines longevity. The build grade is. A commercial-grade zero-turn with a fabricated 7-gauge deck, separate serviceable pumps, and a Kawasaki or Kohler engine will comfortably outlast a poorly treated stand-on, and it will run 3,000 to 4,000 hours doing it. The reason stand-ons have such a glowing reputation is not some mechanical miracle. It is that the stand-on category barely contains any junk. There's almost no cheap end of that market, so when you buy one, you are buying into the commercial tier by default. With zero turns, you have to choose that tier deliberately, and most buyers, lured by a tempting price tag, simply do not. So here's how you actually win this, whichever shape you prefer. Ask the dealer 4 questions and do not leave until you have 4 straight answers. First, is the deck stamped or fabricated, and what gauge is the steel? If they cannot tell you the gauge, walk away. You want 7-gauge fabricated, not 11-gauge or thinner stamped. Second, is the transmission a sealed integrated unit or separate serviceable pumps and motors? Price the replacement before you buy, not after it fails. Third, what engine is in it, and is there an authorized service center within 30 minutes of your home that stocks the parts? An engine with no local support is a machine with a hidden expiry date. Fourth, are the spindles greasable and is the frame fully welded tube steel? Those are the bones of the machine, and bones do not get upgraded later. Get those 4 answers right, and the truth is this. A commercial stand-on and a commercial zero-turn will both run for thousands of hours and very likely outlast your interest in mowing entirely. But pound for pound, on rough ground, in tight spaces, and over a long, hard-working life, the stand-on's shorter frame, lower center of gravity, and built-in shock absorption give it a genuine, measurable durability edge. Not because of the badge, because of the geometry, and because nobody makes a cheap one to ruin its reputation. If this helped you see past the showroom patter, do me a favor and subscribe, because this channel exists to tell you what the brochures never will. And I want to hear from you in the comments. Are you Team Stand-On or Team Zero Turn? And how many hours has your machine actually clocked before its first real failure? Tell me what you are running and how it is held up, because your time in the seat or on the platform is the most honest data this channel has.